Thank you so much. We're indeed proud to be part of this conversation and session initiated by the Department of Justice, Invest India, and Agami for organizing this very important inter-stakeholder convention. Unlocking innovative solutions to close the justice gap in India, a topic that's been close to our heart across different thematic areas. We in fact thank the Honorable Secretary, Department of Justice, Team Agami, for inviting us to this session and giving us this opportunity to share our perspectives based on our interactions with the underserved communities we work with across various parts of the country. Just as a quick intro, Gramvani builds and manages a voice-led distributed network of community platforms where users, specifically marginalized rural, urban, poorly literate, low-income communities across the country, are provided with an easy-to-access voice-based platform accessible even through simple feature phones, where they get information on access to social protection and benefits, access to issues relating to the local communities, content relating to hyperlocal topics that impact the communities. We've touched over 3 million lives so far and about 100,000 unique users engaging through our inclusive platforms every month. The platform offers to people, even with simple feature phones, as I said, access to not just access to credible information in vernacular language and in audio format, but they also allow people to engage. They are able to ask questions, share experiences, share their opinions, thus making it a truly inclusive and participatory alternate to conventional tech or media platforms. I'm happy to be also joined by my colleague Sultan, who leads the governance and workforce initiatives, and specifically around enabling access to social protection benefits underserved communities, and also a topic that we've been reading and understanding a lot about is access to to justice and to legal systems as well. Building an empathetic state and society requires a communication infrastructure, in our opinion, that supports feedback processes and also ensures fair representation of diverse viewpoints. Our belief is that policies definitely can help address, target the equitable access to social entitlements, even to justice, timely access to justice as well. But in a democratic setup, these policies also need to be demanded by the people. So what we are trying to suggest is taking a demand-led approach to improving access to justice and to the legal systems. This will happen only when people have a better understanding, a shared understanding of the processes in terms of the how these services are delivered, a better understanding of the legal systems, the processes of grievance redressal, access to channels that provide these services. And if we need to have a shared understanding, the importance is an important aspect is to have inclusive and accessible communication platforms where people can engage on these topics. We've had the privilege of working with Nyaya legal aid systems in Tamil Nadu and other states and other key stakeholders in this particular sector, including Agami, we've had a privilege of working with earlier in terms of addressing specific queries around labor rights, around access to social benefits and entitlements, grievance redressal mechanisms, working with local stakeholders, escalation points, and getting people the rightful services and access to services and quality of services specifically across these thematic areas. Now, as part of an opportunity last year in collaboration with Agami, we were able to share our thoughts and learning. The Honorable Supreme Court constituted e-committee that was looking to adopt technology to make justice delivery systems more efficient. Now, we ran a campaign across our communities just to understand what were the interaction points of the communities with the legal systems. We found that more than 65% of the respondents sought easy to access digital channels to information in vernacular language. Around 60% of the people when with simple feature phones felt that if they were provided with information in vernacular language through mediums like IVR, that would immensely help bridge the gap in terms of their access to the legal and justice services. There is an interest in seeking access to court proceedings and updates through online medium. Over 80% of the respondents, very interestingly, also were willing to play a very supportive role as volunteers to help this critical gap. We as Gramvani, in fact, are taking a cue from even what Madhukar rightly said. We are in fact proposing a program-led approach called Nyayavani, right? So an approach which again concurs to what the Honorable Secretary Sir had mentioned in terms of the efforts to bridge this awareness gap, that people have with regards to services related to justice. a program-led approach to improve awareness, understanding of judicial and legal services, accessible through inclusive yet multiple channels, a demand-led approach to improving access to legal systems, we believe is the right and most inclusive way. And this can happen only when we take a bottom-up approach to inform, make people aware, and build a shared understanding of the processes. This will help reduce the fear, which we have, of course, found and learned during our interactions with the communities, remove the stigma associated. And as people have a platform to learn, gain from others' experiences, build solidarity, gain trust, confidence, and from the initiatives of the associated institutions, we can really create a very safe space that people are willing to engage and share their concerns and queries. This, we believe, is the right approach forward. But how do we do it? The first is, of course, collaborating with existing partners in terms of creating open source content in vernacular languages, voice-based mediums, and multiple formats. So people are able to relate, and not just relate, but are also able to ask questions and seek guidance on legal matters. And the second part is, how do we bridge this gap with the communities? As Rajiv sir rightly mentioned, in terms of apart from the paralegal support systems, we are looking at creating a network or a cadre of Nyaya Mitras, right? People from the communities, youth who can be trained to bridge this awareness gap, help the local communities understand these processes better, and enable access to these judicial systems and services. And most importantly, using data or user voices as an evidence-based approach, we have to be working towards building suitable accountability structures within the local institutions that communities or the citizens engage with. So this, we believe, again, as rightly pointed out by all the speakers earlier, has to be a collaborative approach, and this couldn't have started out better than the Honorable Secretary, Department of Justice, and the government systems taking a proactive approach on this particular effort. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I look to contribute to the conversations further.